My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Got a great show for you today. However, before we get into all of that, I want to let you know that I am going live every day for 45 days on my Facebook account. So come find me, facebook.com/Ronnie Cruz 11, just to catch me on Live 45. So there's this challenge that I got from the Biz Bros over at Content is Profit podcast. Go check them out if you have a chance. They did a live 45, going live every day for 45 days on Facebook. Sometime last year, I think it was. But many other people have done it, right? Lori Harder used to go live. If she might still, actually, I don't follow her on Facebook. I follow her on Instagram, but she said she used to go live on Facebook all the time. Rachel Hollis is another one. She's amazing, and she was going live every day on Facebook for years, right? For years. So it's a little experiment that I'm doing on Facebook. I encourage you to come join me, come follow me there if you're interested in checking that out. And also join us on the Live 45, right? A bunch of us from the Path of the Network Marketer community on Facebook, our group page, are doing the Live 45 together. So that way we can support each other. We can share each other's lives in the community page itself. So that way we can help interact and comment on it to boost the post and to, so the algorithm catches it. So yeah, come check us out if you're interested. Again, the group page, our community, is facebook.com/groups/Path of the Network Marketer. And then my own Facebook is facebook.com/Ronnie Cruz 11. I'll leave the links to both of that in the show notes of this episode. It's just an experiment that I'm running to see if going live on Facebook every day is still a thing, and if it's still a viable way to grow your audience, especially on Facebook, right? Well, only on Facebook, because Facebook Live is only on Facebook Live. Anyways, today, speaking of live, right? Like, one of the things that's been in my mind, also not just been in my mind, but a lot of people have asked me is, well, don't you get nervous? You're like, going live, not only are you speaking in front of a live audience, but you're on video, which a lot of people get nervous about seeing themselves. So there's all this kind of head game that's going on about going live. And that question has actually come up a lot through my career. Don't you get nervous before you go on stage? Or, when you're coaching somebody, don't you get nervous? It's that whole, worrying about the outcome, like, well, doesn't it, make you anxious? And the answer is, yeah, of course. Right? Why wouldn't it? Right? Why wouldn't it? Like, I've spoken. I think that's proper tense. I've spoken in front of audiences, as much as like 4,000. I know that's not a lot, relatively, when you compare it to like Tony Robbins or Brendan Burchard or Les Brown. But it's still it's a good sized audience for the average Joe. I think the biggest audience that I spoke for was around 4,000. Here's the thing: whether it's 4,000 or 40, I still get nervous, speaking in front of audiences. Of course, naturally, like that's a normal human reaction, right? That anxious energy, right? And that's all part of it. However, I've learned to really lean into that, because the energy itself, anxiousness, isn't good or bad either way. It's just an energetic state, and that's what I want to tell you about, because going into the new year, and with me encouraging you to do new things, whether it's Facebook Lives or recording video for your social media or any online platform, really, like, I encourage you to start doing video, because video is incredibly useful, and the algorithms love video, right? So I encourage everybody to get used to doing video. And that comes with a lot of reticence, right? Or a lot of nervousness. And again, that's normal. That's absolutely 100% normal reaction. The thing is, again, it only becomes negative because of the state of mind, right? The anxiousness is a state of energy, and how it gets translated once that energy goes through our brain depends on the story that we're telling ourselves. And it becomes worry when we're focused on negative outcomes. Potential negative outcomes, because those outcomes don't actually exist outside of our own minds, right? So you really have to be careful when you have anxious energy, to get out of your own head, because your brain we talked about this before many times on this podcast. Your brain wants to tell you to stay in your comfort zone, right? It wants to tell you to not take risks, and so it's gonna give you all the reasons why this thing is gonna go wrong. This thing that you're about to do is gonna fail, and it's gonna go bad. It's gonna go south, and it's gonna just create this negative anxiety and worry, right? And so that anxious energy, that energetic state will get translated into negative outcomes. It can go totally the other way. You just got to check your head, right? You got to check what's in your mind, because the same thing is can be said about like having nervous butterflies. Like butterflies generally are good, right? When you're about to go meet with on your first date, say with remember back to your significant other and it was your first date. You had that anxious energetic state that translated into butterflies, right? And so that's a good outcome of that anxious energetic state. What you can do is, what I encourage you to do, especially in this context of going live on Facebook or creating videos and publishing content on the internet, especially if it's creating a lot of anxiety, if the anxious energy is translating into anxiety, really just get out of your mind, stop thinking about it, and move. Like that is one of the best ways to disperse the energy that's building up in you, that anxious energy, so that you can release it, and it doesn't get translated into negative thought, right? What I used to do I haven't spoken on a big platform in a while, since before pandemic. However, what I used to do before then, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, I used to do this back in college and even high school. When I was a performer, I did a lot of stage performance. I did a lot of acting, and I used to shadow box, right? I used to pace and shadow box behind backstage, and it was just so just to release and channel and release that anxious energetic state. Right. And so that way I wasn't just standing there focused on everything that I was worried about in my head. I was actually transferring that energy and using my body to release that energy. It's one of the best ways to release anxious energy. It really is. It really is. So that way, I get on stage. Yeah, I'm still nervous, of course, but it's not like I'm about to die nervousness. It's an excited nervousness, right? It's an energy level that's elevated because I've been moving around backstage. In fact, I remember one specific instance. I was backstage. I was about to go on for it was at my company's conference. I can't remember what year it was. It must have been 6-7 years ago. But I was backstage, and one of my good friends had just got done speaking, and he was backstage just taking a breather, having a bottle of water. I was back there pacing, right, shadow boxing. I was like, just that nervous, that anxious energy, right? And he came up to me, my friend came up to me, and he's like, "You're gonna be amazing." He gave me a high five, we hugged, and he's like, "Man, your hands are freezing, they're cold and clammy." And like, yeah, I mean, this just happens. No matter how long I've been doing this, no matter how many times I've been on stage, no matter how large those audiences have been, I still get nervous. I get nervous when I go live on Facebook, and I'm in the safety and comfort of my own home. I just know how to transfer that energy, right? Like I've gotten used to doing it with my own method. So yeah, like really get out of your own head, because your own head is your pitfall. That's going to be a trap. If you're not aware of your mental patterns and your thought patterns, then they can really trap you. They can really trap you into paralysis. And again, that anxious energetic state can translate negatively or positively, and you'll end up going negatively because it'll become like a fight or flight reaction, as opposed to let's dive in because it's an exciting reaction, right? Both are nervous energy states, but one is negative and one is positive. So that's the message for me for today. Right? Yes, you're going to be nervous. You're going to be doing new things. It's the new year. It's January. You're going to be diving into a lot of stuff this year, especially if you're trying to do New Year's resolutions. If there's some changes that you want to make in your life, and when it comes to marketing and internet. You have to do new things. You have to put yourself in front of the camera. You have to step into kind of a new pair of shoes, and you're going to be nervous doing it. Understand that's normal. I still get nervous. just channel that energy in a positive way. Get out of your head, move around if you need to, and then hit record, and you're going to be great. Or hit live, and you're going to be great. So, excuse me. I always cough towards the end. I was going to say that's the end of the episode, and then I had a cough. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. More from me tomorrow. Remember, come catch me on Facebook, facebook.com/RonnieCruz11. I'll put the link in the show notes, and then let's go live for 45. That's it. All right, so let me get off here before this goes any further south than it already has. We'll catch you tomorrow with a fresh new episode. Until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.